Hello and welcome to the Idiot Book Nook. I have no idea what episode this is. My name is Blazewing and my pronouns are she, her, and they, them.
I am the reading dragon. I don't know what episode this is either. My pronouns are she, her.
Lady Bonnet.
My name's Lady Punnett. My pronouns are primarily she, her, sometimes they, them. Today is a she, they kind of day.
And I'm Crittershy. My pronouns sparkle around. Today is a she, her kind of day.
Excellent. Well done. I'm leaving that in the podcast.
That's fair. I'm
Perfect.
having an
I love
energy
it.
drink right now. It's by the time you guys are listening to this on the podcast, it's probably either going to be well within or past Halloween season. I'm currently having the seasonal flavor of Alani energy drink titled Witch's Brew, which is basically a candy caramel apple flavor,
Sounds...
and it tastes like a liquid version of those caramel apple lollipops.
Yeah.
So it's basically that in liquid form, and it's really good.
That sounds gorgeous.
Yes.
If you'd like to follow us on social media, you can do so at linktr.ee/idiotbooknook, where you will find links to our Twitch, you will find links to our podcast feed, you will find links to all of our socials, and if you'd like to leave us a voicemail for our podcast, we are more than happy to entertain that. We are going through Prospero School of Magic, The Return of Merlin, written by A.P. Whitfield this morning. This afternoon, whatever time of day it is, I suppose. I should probably leave time out of that because we are technically broadcasting. This will be played at a later date. But that being said, we are moving on to chapter 3 of this book. And I believe our narrator is ready to take it away. Yes? No? Maybe?
Yes.
Cool. Narrator, take it away, please.
Okay. Prospero School of Magic, The Return of Merlin. Trigger warning. This book contains situations and scenes that may cause people to become triggered. These include, but are not limited to, sexual assault, rape, drugs, drinking, blood, gore, murder, and abuse. Viewer discretion is advised.
Listener discretion is advised as well.
Yep.
That too. Chapter 3. Clara sat on her bed as her phone went off to see a text from Daniel. Her heart fluttered as at his name popping up on the screen. She opened the messages to see a song sent from Spotify. She laughed softly and clicked on the link, letting it take her to the Spotify account. The song, Bring Me the Night by Sam Sue and Kina Granis, played out in her room as her sister slept on the bed next to her.
So,
She let this...
real quick, the name is pronounced Sam Sui, and he is an actual person.
Okay. She let the song play as she went out of it. And she went out of it and back to her messages to see the next text from him. Now, if it's a text message, should I keep reading?
I'd say let the texter take care of it.
Okay, so that's Daniel then.
This song reminds me of us right now. I am sorry I'm being a bit cheesy. Do not hate me, lol.
Daniel's text read. Clara giggled at the text and texted him back.
No, I love it. I love this song, and it does remind me of us. It's actually on my playlist.
Daniel was laying back on his bed and smiled at his phone and bit his lower lip. He could not help but smile as he thought of her. His childhood crush, he finally asked out. Daniel!
I'm sorry, I was looking at the song.
Is that so?
We always have. Now, should...
Nope.
Not...
Is that so?
Wait. Is that so? I knew we had the same taste in music.
Her phone went off and she quickly looked at it and started typing her reply.
We always have. Now, shouldn't you be asleep? You have to get up earlier than I do.
Daniel chuckled at her message.
Are you trying to get rid of me? Is that my clue that you are going to bed?
He sent the message and rolled over to his stomach and looked out the window and let out a heavy sigh.
What? No, I would rather you be here, though. I'm going to miss you. Actually, I already do.
She replied as she got up and sat at the bay window and looked out into the night sky. Daniel frowned at his phone as he watched the last of his bruising heal up easily now that he was out of sight from others. He looked over his arm over and sighed, went back to his phone.
I miss you. I promise I'll be back and do everything I can to see you again. I swear, Clara. I love you. Now, get some rest. I will call you in the morning.
Clara felt like she wanted to cry. She could not understand how she was attached to him the way she was. They did grow up together and played often at her house, and even at his, but something happened to where Daniel stopped coming around as much, and she figured now it had to do with his father. But she had always loved him. Even as a little girl, she loved him.
I love you, Daniel.
She sent back. Growing up, both their moms were close, and life events happened and they lost touch. But around the time her and Daniel were both 10, their moms reconnected and they started to play together every day. She would drag him into the games she made Sebastian play as well. She made her brother be the valiant white knight and Daniel her Merlin. Even as a little girl, she had a crush on Merlin, and since she had a crush on Daniel, she found it only fitting that he was her Merlin. To her, Daniel fit the part well. He was able to do things other kids his age could not do, and even the older ones. Although that left an opening to being bullied, but he stood his ground and would fight back. If Sebastian caught wind of it, he would step in and defend him. Not that Daniel needed it, but Sebastian knew how much Clara loved Daniel and did it for her. Clara laughed softly to herself at the memories.
I'm such a dork,
she whispered to herself, and got up from where she sat and went and got back into bed, curled up next to Lilith, who was sleeping soundly. Clara closed her eyes and let her mind go into a dreamland, with thoughts only of him, but soon her dream would shift to Camelot. Clara tossed and turned and woke up in a cold sweat, with Lilith looking at her with worried eyes.
Please, 1 second. Are you okay, Clara? Did you have a bad dream?
She asked Clara as she cuddled into her arms.
Yeah, just a dream. I'm okay, though.
Her phone went off to an email that classes were canceled for the week due to missing students and those hurt.
Looks like we have a free week, Lilith,
she said softly.
Oh, 1 minute. Blaze needs a moment.
So I'm listening to the song that was referenced in this chapter right now, as we're reading this chapter.
Sorry, I live in the downtown of my city, which means I have the downtown orchestra, also known as, hey, there's sirens everywhere.
Hey, someone's getting murdered.
Someone's getting murdered.
So
It was probably Cousin Tony.
Can we get
Probably.
Can we get that last line again, just so I can pick up where we were?
She said softly.
Really?
Lilith sat up excitedly at the news.
Can we have a tea party then?
Sure, why not? We should get up and get ready, though. Get us something to eat.
Clara got up and kissed her head. Her phone started to ring, and the screen showed Daniel's name. Lilith's eyes lit up, and she stole the phone and answered it as Clara tries to get her phone back.
Daniel, when are you coming back? Sissy's having nightmares.
Daniel was surprised by the little voice over the phone and chuckled, but that amusement quickly ended at the mention of nightmares.
Daniel.
Clara?
Nope.
What are you... Oh,
No,
About
about
what?
there it is. Okay.
Come on, focus. You can do it.
About what?
He asked the little girl, who changed to FaceTime. He gave Lilith a smile, and she waved excitedly.
Clara, what are your dreams?
They're silly. It's nothing. Sorry, ignore me.
Welcome to the Idiot Book Nook.
Last week I was taking over for other people's lines. This time people are skipping to their lines without letting me read mine.
Yep.
Clara sighs and sat on the bed with Lilith.
They're silly. It's nothing.
They're not nothing. Tell me.
He replies as he gathered his things for the day.
It's like I'm me, but I'm not. I'm in another body, and I'm at this ball, and it's December. It's decorated beautifully, and King Arthur and Merlin are there, and I'm pregnant with Merlin's child.
What?
Arthur kept calling me Morgana.
She giggled.
But I spent the night in Merlin's arms, and we danced and talked baby names until the kingdom was attacked, and myself and the other women were forced to take cover. Merlin kissed me one last time when he then quickly went to join Arthur.
Damn.
Damn is right. For some reason, she found herself starting to cry.
I watched from the balcony. Camlet was... Sorry, let me start over. I watched from a balcony. Camlet was winning until these 2 knights that were not normal. They had these horrible powers. Arthur called them demons. Somehow they had gotten a hold of a spell to enchant chains and cuffs to cut everyone off from their magical powers. They got Merlin and his dragon, this dragon that he could summon whenever. He called him Amethyst. Both were taken. I was screaming for Merlin, and as Gwyn pulled me back, I was 2 months pregnant. Then I woke up with Lilith shaking me.
Lilith wipes her tears away as worry coated her sweet little face. Daniel let out a shaky breath and swallowed hard.
Daniel.
I'm sorry you had that dream. You must have been so scared.
He did not look back at the phone for a few moments as he composed himself.
I can make you a potion to help with those dreams if you wish. I hate knowing I am all the way over here and I'm not there to give you better comfort.
It's okay. That would be lovely, though.
Clara wipes her face with her handkerchief.
You've always been so sweet to me.
That's because I have loved you since I was 8.
Daniel laughed softly and bit his lip, and he fixed the amethyst around his neck.
Yeah, and don't be sad, Clara. It was just a dream. Remember, Merlin is the most powerful wizard that had ever lived. I'm sure he would have escaped. He was the best.
Oh, correction, this is Lilith's line.
Oh.
Oopsies.
Whoops.
Yeah, and don't be sad, Clara. It was just a dream. Remember, Merlin's the most powerful wizard that ever lived. I'm sure he would have escaped. He was the best. Nothing could beat him.
Lilith says as she jumped up and down on the bed.
He can beat anyone.
She giggled and hugs Clara from behind and looked at the phone, smiling at Daniel. Daniel laughed softly at her words as he looked back at the both of them.
Daniel.
I hate
to run.
Wait, I lost my spot. Sorry, because I saw in the chat that Sir Glen's tag is saying for you, Blaze.
I've already taken care of it. Don't worry about it. Just focus on the book. The paragraph that you're looking for starts with Daniel laughs softly.
Okay. I hate to run, but I don't need to be late. I'll call you again tonight. I love you, my dear. And you too, little one. Keep your sister company for me.
I love you as well, Daniel. See you soon.
Clara replies softly. Lilith waved bye to him and blew a kiss.
You got it!
The call ended, and Daniel leans on his wall in the hotel and closed his eyes as he let out a soft sob and slid to the floor.
But it wasn't Lilith, I wasn't strong enough and I failed her. One too many times.
He wipes the tears from his face.
She's remembering things too early. This is a first. Something's going on and I'm gonna have to find out what before anything else can happen. I just hope I'm not too late.
He looks up at a little purple dragon that flew to sit on his shoulder.
We have a lot of work to do, Amethyst. Now, you need to vanish for a short while. I'll be back here later tonight. Then, we'll pull the books out and start figuring out what's going on.
He scratches the dragon's head, and its tail starts to wag like a dog, making the old wizard start to chuckle at the adorable actions.
Lilith would love you.
Back at the school, Clara had finished getting ready in a tweed skirt with a matching navy blue blazer. Her outfits were normally that of vintage style, same as that of Lilith. She looked over to see Lilith in what looked like a short baby doll dress from the 30s that matched Clara's vintage style and color.
You look adorable, Lilith.
So do you. Daniel would love it on you.
She giggled teasingly.
Can we check on Sebastian first?
Of course we can. I definitely want to see how he's doing.
Clara replied as she held the door open for Lilith to go out first. She stopped to fasten her amethyst around her neck. She has had it since she could remember. Catching up to Lilith, she took her hand and led her down the hallway.
Do you think Big Brother's awake?
Lilith asked as she looked up at Clara, with worry in her blue eyes.
I think so. At least I hope that he is. I'm worried for him as well, Lilith. I don't very much understand what happened last night, but it does worry me for all that's going on. Students are missing. Make sure you don't go off alone a little bit. Make sure I am with you, or Jenna, or Chester, even Romeo, and of course Sebastian when he's better. Stay with one of us.
Clara had stopped and knelt in front of her to fix the bow from her bonnet as she spoke to her gently, yet in a firm tone, to make her little sister understand just how important this matter was. She's wearing a bonnet.
Yes, Clara.
Lilith's voice was soft and sweet. She held such innocence, and it worried Clara on what dangers had found their private school. Prospero had always felt so safe, like a second home to her and so many others to the school. To think that now she was scared to let Lilith out of her sight.
Clara! Lilith!
A familiar voice sounded from behind Clara.
Jenna!
Lilith waves to the dark-haired girl running up to them. Jenna was dressed in a casual pantsuit. She was with her girlfriend, Sally!
Ah.
Sally was a little bit shorter than Jenna, but not by much. She was a dainty girl like Clara and rather shy. Clara loved to see them together. She always found it adorable how Jenna would make Sally blush.
Good morning, you two. I'm really glad to see you're both safe.
Clara said to the couple that came up to them. Sally was hugging Jenna's arm as the wind made her dress dance around. She gave a shy smile to the girls.
We're both glad you both are doing well. Yesterday was scary. I was so worried. We're on our way to check on Sebastian. Oh, wait, is this Clara's line? Oh,
no, it's the timid girl. It's Jenna.
I'm guessing you both are heading that way as well? We can all walk together.
The timid, shy girl says softly.
This is a good idea. It is best we stick together the best we can. I'm worried about all of this.
Jenna kissed the top of Sally's head. It worked for them with Sally being only 5 foot.
She's small.
Yes, let's get going. I want to make sure we're there and get some time with him.
Clara held Lil's hand as they walked together with the couple.
So, going to tell us about you and Daniel, or...
Jenna gave Clara a sideways glance and mischievous smile as she watched her friend curiously.
This is Clara.
Like what? What are you trying to poke at and find out?
Clara asked.
Oh, come on, Clara. Are you guys, like, actually a thing or what?
Jenna turned around to walk backwards to look at her.
Yes, we are a thing. You don't have to make a big deal about it.
Clara replied.
Yes, I do. You've had a crush on him since you were little. How can I not make a deal out of it? I told you that he liked you, but you did not want to believe me.
Jenna went back to walking normally and threw her arm over Sally's shoulder. Clara sighs as they entered the building, and they made a beeline right for the hospital wing where Sebastian was, stepping into the area with beds lining the walls and down the middle. Sebastian was still in the same spot where they had seen him last night, but this time he was awake and sitting up slightly, with the doctor looking him over again to make sure everything was healing properly, with the help of a young man with long raven hair pulled up in a ponytail. Clara knew the male. He was in almost all of her classes, and she had worked together with him a few times on a project. He was always so serious, but she found his seriousness to be attractive. His skin was pale like hers, and his eyes were dark and intimidating. They locked on to Clara's celestial jewels, and she noticed a soft pink tint to his fair complexion. Oh my god, how many people like this girl?
Mm.
They walked over to them, and Dimitri took Lilith to sit on his lap, as his tired eyes watched the two examine Sebastian, who looked like he was ready to jump up from being bedbound until the doctor said otherwise.
Good morning, Dr. Maho, Julian.
Clara says to the two.
How are you both?
Very good, and I'm happy to say Sebastian is doing rather well considering what happened last night.
The doctor replied with a big smile. Julian looked away to let strands of his raven black hair fall in front of his face from his loose ponytail.
Julian... Sorry, go ahead.
Did anyone else want to take Julian, or should I just take Julian?
You can take Julian if you like.
Okay. I am well, Miss Cameron. How are you?
His face seemed to darken and pink as he spoke to her softly.
No.
Clara watched the male closely, and a soft blush graced her face as she started to realize why he was blushing. She looked down at her navy Oxford shoes. That's not me.
It's Clara.
I'm well. I have been worried over Sebastian, of course.
Do not fret. He will be out of here before we know it. He is rather stubborn.
Julian replied. He was in the same house as Sebastian, but in the same grade as Clara. He was a quiet boy, always had been, but he got picked on a lot, and Clara hated it, so she would have Sebastian handle the ones that was mean to Julian. Although one of the times it got her hurt, but Daniel put a stop to it when he was coming from class and found her. He was not very happy. She does not know what happened to that boy, but she had not seen him at school since then.
Ooh.
Daniel's a yandere.
I should get going. Thank you for letting me join you again, Doctor.
Of course. You can join me at any point.
Dr. Mohoy replied with a smile.
Speaking of which, you're a bit pink. Are you feeling okay?
Julian's face went even more pink, and he looked down at his dress shoes and bit his lip.
I am well. Sorry to worry you. I should go, if you will all excuse me.
He moved past them and looked down as he left the hospital wing.
Enjoy. Thank you for the follow. Is it something I said?
Dr. Mohoy asked as he looked at the group gathered. Who was Sebastian?
I think it was Blaze.
You really gotta write down the rules one of these days.
We have a reading rules channel.
He's just shy.
Sebastian chuckled.
But he is a good kid.
Clara went to wrap her arms around Sebastian and kissed his cheek.
You had us all so scared.
I'm sorry. That's not what I wanted to happen.
He hugged her and kissed her head.
How long am I stuck in bed for?
He looked up at the good doctor for his answer.
6 to 8 weeks.
He replied as he looked at Sebastian, who pierced his lips together at the answer. It was clear that was not the answer he had hoped for.
If your conditions change before then, I'll let you know. You are only on your first day of recovery.
Oof.
Yes, right.
Sebastian let out a heavy sigh that he winced at.
I understand. Thank you.
He frowns as he watched the older male walk away, and he slowly laid back on the hospital bed.
Anastasia.
We're thankful for you still being alive. You had us all so worried.
Anastasia got up and sat on his bed, taking her hands into his. She looked at her son with worry.
I thought I was going to lose my baby boy.
I'm okay now. You're not going to lose me.
Sebastian looked at her with sad eyes.
Did they catch who did it?
Dimitri leans forward, slightly adjusting his setting. Dimitri leans forward, slightly adjusting his setting.
No, but more students have went missing. So far, they have not been found. Parents are all frantic with worry, and some are taking their kids out of school and transferring them until this is all solved.
He shakes his head at the thought. He takes his glasses off and rubbed his eyes, and pinched the bridge of his nose.
Jenna.
If it keeps up, the rumor is they will shut the school down.
Jenna chimes in.
I really hope that does not happen.
They have no leads? Nothing?
Sebastian's expression was serious and full of worry.
Jenna.
No, and 2 of the artifacts have already been stolen from the exhibit.
Jenna sat down and pulled Sally onto her lap.
Really? When did you discover that?
Clara looked at her with surprise. She was already in shock from everything else going on. More and more keeps going on. Nothing has ever happened at Prospero like this before. Sure, the school has bullies and the normal teenage drama, but never has anything like this happened. Not at any of the schools of magic.
This morning, the school is back together, so none of it was buried under the rubble. It was that rainbow crystal and the amulet they had out.
Jenna replies as she looked at all their faces.
Where is that quote? Oh, so we have missing students and missing artifacts. The school is looking bad right now. We went this morning to try and help find the students and even the artifacts that are missing, but nothing. No signs of them anywhere. They're trying to get this under control before the royal families get involved. So our school is the #1 school, and right now it is not looking like it. Half the royal family send their children here.
Dimitri.
Yep. Yes, yeah. It is a major concern. The royal families control the law in the world of magic. They can order Prospero to shut down.
Dimitri sighs heavily.
Also, Clara, we need to talk.
His tone was serious, but gentle.
What is it?
Clara looked at him with worry.
I do not know how to say this or go about it. We did not realize you had a boyfriend, but he is not exactly in the same social status.
Dimitri was stumbling over his words on how to spit out what he was trying to say.
What are you trying to say?
Clara asked.
Yes, Father. What are you getting at?
Sebastian asked, matching his father's serious tone.
Anastasia.
Your father and I signed a contract with your father's friend. You both remember him and the Queen. King Christopher Lafayette. Lafayette. Is it Lafayette?
Lafayette?
King Christopher Lafayette and his Queen Annabella Lafayette of Norway. You are betrothed to Wesley now. You remember growing up and playing at the palace with him?
Anastasia spoke to her calmly as she watched her daughter's whole expression crumble.
Oh, I'm so sorry, dear. It has been a topic for you both since you were both babies.
You can't be serious right now. You're marrying me off for pureblood stature to keep our family name high in the magic realm, all because of old money and power?
Clara starts to tear up and shake slightly.
I don't care about any of that. You haven't arranged anything for Sebastian, so why me?
Dimitri frowned and let out a sad sigh.
You'll understand later. You know Wesley will be good to you. He's always loved you. You both used to be inseparable when you were younger.
Yes, until for some reason you never told us why we could not see him anymore. I was literally ripped from his arms as a child, screaming for him and him for me. That was the last time I spent a summer with him. We have hardly talked since he came back to school.
Clara argued.
So, care to explain that, Father?
Wesley was a sick child. I did not know how sick back then. That is why he could not play outside all the time, or too weak to leave his room. And we'd find you curled up in bed with him, with a book in hand that you or he must have been reading. Of course, his mum was also furious over it, and tried to place guards outside his door. But you managed to get into his room.
Dimitri chuckled.
He was never allowed to tell you what he had, and they did not want the world to know that their oldest son was sickly. I didn't even know what he had. Christopher would never tell me, and I never pushed for it. It was his business. The night the two of you were separated from one another broke my heart. I tried to reason with Annabella, and so did your mother and Christopher. We had not realized what he had spread.
What do you mean, spread?
Clara asked, confused as she cleans her eyes. Everyone near Dimitri sat listening to him with concern and great interest. He sighs heavily.
What I am going to tell you all must stay between all of us. They still do not want anyone to know that this had happened. We won't say anything, Father. Go on with your story.
Sebastian met his own serious eyes with his father. Dimitri nods.
Wesley had leukemia. That is why he always seemed so pale or weak, and why he would get cold easily. How he would easily bruise, or random nosebleeds. How he would get dizzy and have headaches. I never put it together. As it spread and got worse, he was bedridden. His mother did not want anyone to see just how far it had all spread, or how sick he was. When they had gotten word, it had spread. It was the night she had the guards pull you two apart. I could tell just how sick he was. He lost a lot of weight and his eyes looked tired and sunken in. It almost seemed like he was going to die at any moment. That night, they got word that it had developed into something worse. That is why he was not at school for the first 2 years and was homeschooled. For them to keep the leukemia from returning, he is still having to do maintenance therapy in cycles over a period of 2 or 3 years. He's still going through that, but...
Clara cuts him off.
But they want an heir to the throne. They think it'll come back, and they need to wed. They need him to wed. That's it. Is it not?
Yes, but Christopher does not think that it will come back. Annabella, on the other hand, does. I'm sorry, but it is going to be for the best.
Dimitri looked at his daughter sadly.
For the best? Deciding who I wed is for the best.
Clara retorts.
You have to marry that of pure bloods anyways. who you end up with must be from a long line of pureblood with high status. You know this. It has been the way of our family for centuries. Damn Phil. Ah!
Dimitri's voice was calm yet serious.
You'll be wed to Wesley after you both graduate. The arrangement has been made.
Sebastian grits his teeth and looks at his hands that clench the covers he was under.
That's not fair. I understand the urgency, but this is wrong. How are we still living in the Dark Ages? Why does it matter so much for blood status? How does it make us any better than the others? To keep our bloodline powerful, and to keep our family name that of a high title. We are the closest you can be to being that of royalty without having a crown to our name, and every ancestor has ensured that just the same as all of you will. I'm sorry. I know it is not very fair to you right now, but you will understand when you're older. Now, I will not hear any more of the subject.
Dimitri looked at them all sternly before getting to his feet.
I need to get back to the office. I have a stack of cases that need my attention.
He bent down and kissed Anastasia tenderly, then kissed her forehead.
I love you. See you at home. Nope.
No,
Anastasia.
that is Anastasia.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I love you too. Have a good day at work.
She replied to him softly.
And thus ends Chapter 3 of Prospero School of Magic, and I have so many issues with Dimitri right now.
We were rooting for you, Dimitri! You were the good father!
Now we just want to smack you!
My dude!
Give you a fucking Gibson smack.
Why is it always blood status? Why?
I don't fucking
Bloody So I'm going to say this, and no offense to anybody who might be listening, but fucking purebloods!
Yeah. Like,
I would have understood if she was the royalty and she had the leukemia.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would understand, like, oh no, okay, so you're like next. No, it wouldn't even have mattered because there's an older son.
Mm-hmm.
You mean to tell me this kid doesn't have like a bunch of other suitors who are like jumping at the chance
Yep.
to become the queen?
Yep.
Right?
There has to be more to it than just that. Not to just mention like the whole ick factor of it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like they're hoping that their son lives just long enough to graduate, make this girl pregnant so there's an heir, and that's all there is to it.
Yep.
There's a chance he's infertile now because of the leukemia.
Yep.
Right?
I think
Then
that's
again-
actually what happens to leukemia.
Then again, we don't know
So-
how they treat leukemia. It's not necessarily radiation because we are dealing with a magical universe. There may be a magical solution or something that may take
However,
time.
modern technology is integrated into magic, so there is a very likely chance that radiation could have still been used.
It's
Offense.
so
Offense taken. Unlocked. God damn it.
so I actually know quite a lot when it comes to treating cancers and things like that. So I'm going to say that it really depends. And
You-
it's not generally a subject that I'm very keen to discuss, but I am quite knowledgeable on it.
and that is fair. And you would be our resident expert in that case because you have more experience with that.
Can I simply ask though, is it the leukemia itself that could make you infertile, or is it the treatment?
It's the treatments, and that all depends on the type of chemotherapy and again, if it was like there's different kinds of radiations that can be used. It's not just one kind, and that also depends on what year, time frame, and again, magical involvement.
Yeah.
But it's
Okay.
usually the drugs that they use.
Since we are dealing with magic here, we don't know how magic and technology has developed to a point where, treatments might be a little more fast-paced or a little better than they were, but again, we don't have enough information right now to base a hypothesis. So,
Yeah.
Okay, changing to a slightly lighter topic,
Yes.
I would like to say that Clara is starting to get dangerously close into Mary Sue territory.
yep.
Because
Yeah.
every single male we have run into, with the exception of Chester, has a crush on her.
Or has kind of reacted to her in such a way that
That would suggest attraction.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also
It
have...
could just be an aura about her. She might have a particular aura.
And that's a possibility, but I'm just saying it's getting dangerous because she's the reincarnation of Morgana, who is like one of the most powerful sorceresses in the world. All of these guys seem to have some sort of attraction to her. Starting to teeter dangerously close. Also, she's now betrothed to a prince.
Yeah, I do have a thing here, actually, that popped up. So, at first I thought that she was having visions and that she might be a foil, or that Citrine might be a foil to her, and then it was brought to light that these were memories of hers.
Mm-hmm. 1 second, guys. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it was brought to light that these are memories of hers, right? Mm-hmm. So, then I had a thought that they're... there's a potential for a time bubble or a time loop. Maybe they're in a self-contained universe, because if she's starting to remember things and she's either the reincarnation or she actually is, if she actually is, that means they've moved, they found a way to contain certain things and potentially cut themselves off from the rest of the world or the rest of the universe, the rest of reality, what have you. So that brings up the idea of, what if pocket dimension?
That's a possibility.
I mean, in a way, that's sort of what Avalon is.
Yeah.
True. I mean, that is a possibility. Another point that was just slight thing. Apparently, there's other schools of magic. But the main thing I want to focus on with the whole, like, not even going back to the topic of Mary Sue, the fact that she can remember and that we can now confirm, yes, Daniel, you're fucking Merlin. Does your dad know you're Merlin? Is that why he's so hard on you?
My father.
No, I doubt it.
My father will hear about this. Sorry.
1 second, my bubble tea arrived.
You're good. What else have we got?
The dads are assholes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, Dimitri is an asshole in a different way than Professor Smith is.
Daniel Sr. Yeah.
Daniel Sr.?
But, like, in the grand, like, yeah, like it one is not better than the other. Like,
they're just shitty in their own way.
They're their own brand of shit.
Yeah.
So is it like they were little and she like she spent time with this prince or whatever, and then like they got separated, and then she
previously?
No, it wasn't. And like it's been mentioned that she's had a crush on Daniel since they were like at least 8. So like there's
would make
a time disconnect there.
Which would make sense, because if she's Morgana and Daniel is Merlin, I believe there are iterations where those two have actually had a connection and potential romance has evolved in certain stories, so that would actually line up.
There seems to be this plot hole with the Wesley thing.
Yeah, that's what bothers me. Wesley.
1 second. 1 second. Sorry. Finish your thought, Critter, and then we'll get to Lady Punnet.
No, I'm good. Let it out. Go ahead.
What if Wesley's Merlin?
Oh, Daniel's Merlin.
No, Daniel's Merlin.
No,
I think you need to say Arthur.
Arthur. Because think about it. There are stories where they don't reveal that Morgana is like step siblings or half siblings or whatever, and we have confirmation that in the story they are step siblings.
Right.
That's true.
What if Wesley is the reincarnation of Arthur?
Maybe, because it was basically being hinted. Up until this point, we were thinking that maybe the actual brother was probably the reincarnation of Arthur because of how they were interacting. However, if Wesley is to be theorized to be the reincarnation of Arthur, in a sense, it would make sense with the whole trope of past life super strong and like kind of the Chad and whatnot in this lifetime super weak, as if being punished for whatever it is they did in the past life where they were super strong. And then making the older brother, the actual older brother, Sebastian, probably someone like Lancelot or one of the other.
Well, no, didn't Citrine say that the older brother looked like Donatello, the knight that betrayed them?
Yeah, so there's that too.
What if We just get rid of the whole reincarnation idea. What if they
That's what I was gonna
they
say.
just are?
Yeah.
Okay, that would follow through though, because here's the thing. In all literature, the one common thing that is carried through every Arthurian tale is that Arthur is the one and true king.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one day he will return and
Yes.
Camelot will be regained. So Wesley is Arthur.
He's already
Wesley is
royalty.
returned. However, think about it. If you come back from the dead, you're not okay. In D&D, you suffer a point of exhaustion. What if in this case, it took so much magic to bring him back that he is not fully back and thus suffers from leukemia that got worse all of a sudden, so Clara wasn't able to be around him as they were treating him.
Maybe. Unless Wesley is the sacrificial element to actually bring Arthur back, and the reason that there is this betrothal is because Clara is to be the vessel to bring Arthur back. And her kid.
That would align with how some of the original mythos comes together. In a measure, like, I mean, let's face it, if we don't romanticize it, the original tale is quite fucked up.
Yep.
So this tracks.
Yeah.
Okay, so another thing. So I know we're going with the whole, like, oh, there's no reincarnation. They just are.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel knows he's Merlin.
Yep.
From the sounds of it, he's known for a while.
Yep.
Wait, if I may, there was a point that Clara was explaining how they hung out a lot when they were children, and it was around the time that they were roughly 8 years old. There was like a certain point between her and Daniel where he stopped coming over, where he stopped playing, and she thought maybe it had something to do with his dad.
Right, I remember
Going along the theory that there is no reincarnation, they just are. What if it is the subject matter of the souls of what they are, like Morgana, Merlin, kind of like the changeling aspect.
So that begs the question.
Like if the souls of those people were put into the bodies of these people.
So
you're saying avatars.
Yeah.
So that begs the question then. Does magic follow the soul?
We'll have to find out, I think.
Well, okay. So far in the book, have we had any confirmation that Clara is well adept at magic outside of her love of rocks?
I haven't seen any evidence of it thus far.
Isn't she? No, her brother is the head of.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that Clara is adept at magic, though.
No, it could be like, oh, prodigy, but not every person's born a prodigy.
Yeah.
Right.
So what if it's... Okay, so let's go with this theory that the magic follows the soul. Let's go with this theory that basically souls are not so much created as they are recycled. As bad as that sounds.
Sorry, go ahead. Finish your thought.
So if souls are recycled, what if your true magic can only be unlocked if you start to remember what happened in last time?
Fair.
Like trying to restore something on a computer. Yeah.
Panda Bear, if you look over on the left-hand side of the screen here, you will see a book cover. When we are doing the Idiot Book Nook, I will usually display the cover over there, so we know exactly what we're reading.
But yeah, so from the sounds of it, Daniel has always been described to be very good at magic. Like they even said at a young age. So I think Daniel unlocked his true magic and thus unlocked the memories from like his previous vessel, which was Merlin.
Mm-hmm.
Or perhaps it wasn't even previously Merlin, because it's making it sound like this isn't the first time it's happened.
Right.
Which is why I said time bubble or time loop. Maybe the impression I got was that this has happened before, because he said specifically she's remembering too fast this time.
Yeah,
this has happened before. I'm thinking there's a bubble or a loop here in effect.
He's in it also is hinting that Lilith is involved as well, because he mentioned failing. It's either he failed Lilith or he failed Clara in some way.
So here's the interesting thought on that. If the time bubble / time loop is in effect, the theory is that this has happened before. The only reason that you would continue to be in a time bubble or time loop is that they didn't win last time. This was a last-ditch effort to save themselves and find a way to solve this problem.
It could be one of those that Merlin is the one continuously going back, continuously trying to fix something.
Or
you know what I mean?
Again,
that's what
time loop.
Yeah.
What if it's less of a time loop and more like New Game Plus? What if in every reiteration he isn't able to save Morgana and Arthur? What if this has happened multiple times and and Merlin remembers every time? So like this has happened over centuries.
Kind of like how, for those that have not seen it yet, the newest Marvel film, Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange finds that in practically every iteration of his timeline, in every alternate universe that he comes across, he has in some way or another fucked up with maintaining a relationship to the lady that he is in love with at the time.
Not even just like multiverse. I think it's like every time the soul gets into a new body, over the centuries, over the decades, over the generations, he can't save her. Which is why he is so desperate to be with her now.
Like each rebirth is stuck in the same repeating pattern in one way or another of circumstances.
Like a romantic tragedy.
Yep.
I hate that.
Panda Bear, I have posted in the chat the link to the book on Amazon. You don't have to look for it. It's right there for you. This book is written by A.P. Whitfield, who we are actually in contact with. So,
another point I wish to bring up. Merlin has a dragon named Amethyst.
Amethyst!
Which is kind of going inside with our Queen Beryl theory.
Yeah.
thing is...
Except Merlin is our Sailor Moon.
The thing is...
Merlin is our Sailor Moon.
So Amethyst, it appears, hasn't been corrupted, but then you look what Amethyst is good for. Purification and energy work and all that shit, right? Healing and all of that. Amethyst hasn't been corrupted, it sounds like, but I also think that Amethyst is going to be a plot device later on.
Amethyst is also
100%.
the one thing they're both wearing.
Yep.
They're both wearing amethyst.
Yeah, and Amethyst is also this tiny Durgan.
Yep.
Okay, one more thing about amethyst stones. It is actually referred to as the all-purpose stone because it is pretty much good for everything.
Yep.
It is a magic boost. It helps with anxiety and sleep. It helps with fatigue, headaches. So
I've had this amethyst since 2008. My sister Aspen gave this to me, and yeah, it's done a lot.
yeah, I would go. I'm not getting my rock collection because then we're going to be here all day. But
Here's mine.
That's a lovely geode. But basically, it's not a surprise that Merlin would name his dragon Amethyst. I wouldn't be surprised because it said it's a purple dragon. That it is actually an amethyst dragon.
To be fair, if I remember correctly, Merlin was well versed in a lot of things, if not most types of magic.
Yep, and in one iteration of Arthurian lore, in particular that I'm going to be referencing here, the Sci-Fi Channel series of Merlin, he knew how to speak in Draconic and was named and obtained the title of Dragon Lord.
Huh.
Yeah, have you not seen that series?
Nope.
Really?
It's a good series. It follows mostly true to the lore.
At least one of the lores. But basically, in at least when it aired over here in the States, it was on Sci-Fi Channel. But I think it's originally from BBC.
It's actually on Netflix now, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't have Netflix.
Oh.
I did hear that, like, the way this show ended overall was, like, last season was not great. Apparently, they kind of stuck it to the fans.
Yeah, I cried like a bitch, and I was really, like... I cried like a bitch.
Yep.
At the end of that series because of how it ended, because it was highly emotional for me, and there were parts of the ending that I did not like in particular. However, it was still overall a really good series.
That was me for season 4 for Stranger Things. Bald like a big ass baby.
I need to catch up with Stranger Things.
So, do we have anything else we want to add for this chapter?
I'm trying to think, because besides for the fact that Demetrius went from being best dad
to shit dad.
To shit dad. He went from being Hagrid to Lord Malfoy.
Yep.
Yep.
Let me check. Let me double check. Okay, so we got a vision in the past. We know that something attacked Merlin.
Mm-hmm.
And there was shackles involved that cut off their magic, including that of the dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, it's a dragon. You can't cut off their magic unless you're more powerful than the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And that Morgana was 2 months pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know for sure if the baby survived, if Morgana survived. However, we know she's with, well, it's spelt wrong, but I'm pretty sure when they say Gwen, they mean Guinevere.
Yeah, Guinevere, yeah.
The Queen of Camelot.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, that's where the women would go to be safe.
Yeah.
So,
Here's a thought.
and we don't get to know the end because Lil shook her awake. So, something attacked Camelot to the point where I was able, from the dream memory thing, to take down Merlin and the dragon. Now, we could go with the running theory that most likely it was probably Argon.
Mm-hmm. And
his cabinet.
Yeah.
So, here's a thought, and this is just a throwaway thought, but it'll be interesting to see, I guess, at the end of this book, whether or not it's right. But I'm just going to throw this out there. Prospero School of Magic? What if it is Camelot?
That is a good theory.
I had a similar thought when they were talking about the state of the school.
Yeah.
In the first chapter. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't sure. But yeah, now that you're saying it.
It is described with Gothic architecture.
Not just that. There was a description in this last chapter that said it felt like kind of a second home. It felt like a safe place, or it had always been safe up until now. Yeah. And Camelot is the one place where we know that Arthur and Merlin and Gwen could all go and feel safe. And now we're starting to see them come out. I'm thinking that Prospero is Camelot.
Yeah. Because some whispers and lore and whatnot suggest that Camelot and Avalon is not tied to one place in the world. It can possibly travel to other places,
so
depending.
What you're saying is it's extra reality.
So I have something for that. So I don't know how much you guys know about like history of architecture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm somewhat familiar.
It's it was common, especially for like big castles or things like that were built for the keystone. So that would be like usually the the base stone in the foundation and things like that, to be labeled like usually by like the mason or whoever was working on the castle, but they were also said to be like the power centers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Argon and shit, they're looking for a key.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they mean keystone.
I'm thinking maybe that key is what allows them to finish their task, allows them to defeat.
What if it's Camelot's keystone?
Yeah.
And wherever you put the keystone, that's where Camelot is.
Yep.
Slaying dragons by moonlight, contemplating the void by daylight. For every cycle due to insert commentary here. Art thou Merlin, perhaps, maybe.
God damn it.
Love it.
Thank you. I enjoy.
So, we know, touching back to that actually, Merlin, I don't know if Daniel Merlin knows for sure what's going on, because it's sounding like, yes, there's a tragedy every time, but it's sounding like that Argon and Citrine and them, this is the first time they're waking up.
Yeah.
So some kind of tragedy happened with the other ones. Maybe Morgana died previously through other tragedies, whatever. Maybe he never got to meet in some timeline, in some lives, whatever. But I don't think he knows for sure what's going on, because he's sounding like I have to hit the books. And you would think that if you know, oh, it's Argon and them, he would be like, oh, I know how to stop them. I need to go find Donatello's people. And also, Donatello is a very Italian name.
Yeah.
Very.
So, was there Italian knights? I would love an Italian knight.
So, Panda Bear. Yes, bird. That is Grim.
He is currently trying to steal my tea.
No, Grim. No stealing tea.
Don't steal the tea, Grim.
He can't. There's ginger in this one. Bad for birds.
So,
Bad for birds. So, but yes, so there is the whole thing that Merlin doesn't seem to know for sure what's going on. Also, so for the like best magic school in like the world or whatever that apparently they send even like royalty to, you mean to tell me there's not a way they can track their students? They don't have them like GPS chip, scrying, look, find my friends, locate object, what's the term? Message sending?
Yep.
Basic cell phone.
A basic cell phone?
Because they got cell phones.
Magic mirror.
Magic mirror, something. They can't. They don't have anything like that. They don't have like little hounds that can find them.
Magical.
They don't have like tracking chips like you put in pets.
Magical GPS.
Mm-hmm.
AirTag.
I'll tell you right now, that would solve so many issues with all other magic schools.
AirTag. Yeah, even Andrew.
AirTag. That's the thing I was looking for.
Yeah.
You mean to tell me there's nothing they can use to track the students? Like, come on. That'd be the first thing I would implement.
Oh my.
Is like with consent from the parents and proven that the students have been missing for more than 12 hours with no way to contact them. Like automatic.
Yeah, because these children, they're not just going missing. When they do get found, they're gonna be found dead because they're getting eaten.
Yep.
Not just that, but this is basically like from what we've found out, this is basically like a big prep school for the rich and popular, because there's like royalty kids that go here.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the kind of security you have.
It's Magical Oran High School Host Club.
God damn it.
Yeah. But they're not doing their fucking job. Like, even with Oran High School Host Club, like, they could find them very fast. I mean, look at the Otari group.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, the Otari group got their shit down. They are on top of their shit.
Well.
Security in like 5 seconds flat.
So, can we say one more thing. Just one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we know he's Merlin.
Mm-hmm.
We do not think that Daniel Sr. knows he's Merlin.
Probably not.
Because you wouldn't do that to Merlin.
No.
That's how you get killed.
Unless Daniel Sr. does have some kind of inkling and wants Merlin to be safe, so that way Merlin can actually fucking do his job to save everything. So he doesn't want Merlin to be anywhere near the whole danger.
I don't know about that.
He was really concerned about his safety.
That way, if he was about safety, he wouldn't be hitting him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't. So, as a former abused child, the parent can still be concerned about their child's safety, yet not give a crap when it's them dealing the abuse.
Unfortunately, yes, you are very correct.
Yeah. So.
That is an unfortunately good point.
Yeah. Because when it's the abuser doing it, they know how to do it in such a way that it's not going to leave a whole lot of physical damage.
Yeah.
Because part of the abuse is having control.
Yep. Yeah, Daddy's Love actually just mentioned that. It's all about control at times.
Mm-hmm.
Do
I
you
guess we'll
think
have to-
Merlin's doing something to affect his memory so that way? Because here's the thing: it sounded like Merlin.
Sorry, you cut out. We didn't. Do you think it's all about? And then you cut off.
Well, so do you think Merlin is doing something to Daniel Sr. to affect his memories? Because he's making it sound like he can only heal his wounds when no one is watching. But I'm pretty sure Daniel Sr. would notice if bruises he left on his son's body suddenly disappeared the next day.
Unless he thinks that his son is just kind of resilient. Because
plausible.
Because some people don't bruise as easily as others.
That or that's what's actually expected of him.
Yeah.
To heal in private so that nobody knows afterwards.
Yeah.
As someone in my life would say as I was growing up, suffer in silence.
But yeah, so we know the mom's involved too, but we don't know. Because I don't think anyone knows. I think he's keeping it to himself, which, I mean, good reason. Because let's face it, if someone said, oh, yeah, I'm one, you'd be like, okay, buddy, sure. Let me just call the people in the loony bin to come collect you.
Yeah.
It's like I said
Definitely.
for the last episode earlier in this stream, Daniel's character and Daniel's situation just hits home for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that when I started reading for his lines until, like, in
If
this...
you need...
Are you okay?
No,
Do
I'm
you-
okay. I'm okay,
Okay.
like, reading it. I just didn't realize it was going to hit that
Yeah.
home.
If you need to switch roles with someone else, we'll understand if it's too triggering for you.
Yep.
I
Absolutely.
think it actually might be better if I did continue, because who else to better understand his character than someone who actually went through it?
Understanding the character and having to suffer while reading the character are two completely different things, though.
Yep.
And
I'm
we don't want you to be triggered by it.
I'm to the point now where I have learned to live with it.
And having control of the situations can sometimes be helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That being said, I'm going to close this out because this is a pretty heavy topic. So, thank you very much to all of you for joining us. We hope you have enjoyed this reading and kind of the discussion that follows for this chapter, chapter 3 of Prospero School of Magic, The Return of Merlin. Keep in mind going forward, there's going to be a lot of heavy subject content, including our discussions, so just bear with that. We understand that this isn't for all audiences, and you do what you need to do. Self-care is important.
Yes.
Do something for like healing, make sure that you're in a safe place, all of that jazz.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Do we have any other days that we do this? So the Idiot Book Nook is strictly Wednesday at 9 a.m. Mountain Time, usually starting. We started a little bit late today. I go live here randomly throughout the week playing games and whatnot, but there's no strict schedule for me for gaming because I did that once and found it way too stressful. The other thing is on every other Sunday, we have the Debauchery Tea Party, which I believe is coming up this coming week, starting at noon Mountain Time. You can, however, if you want to watch, go to our link tree at lanktr.ee/idiotbooknook. Go find our YouTube for the Crimson Entertainment website, and I actually upload all of our episodes there. We also have the podcast, which, again, you can find through our link tree. You can go to either our website or you can go to any of our podcasting host platforms and check out the podcast there. It's not live interaction, but you still will get you still will get the content. It's just edited in those formats.
Actually, through anchor.fm, isn't there a thing to where letters and messages can actually be sent and emails
Yes.
can be sent?
Yes, you can also send us over on anchor.fm/idiot-book-nook. You can leave us voice messages on our primary podcast hosting platform, and we will get that, and we can work those into episodes for feedback and whatnot. So if we start getting enough of those, what we might do is do either a listener viewer feedback, or we could potentially incorporate like a mail section or a viewer listener discussion portion in each episode, depending on kind of what the volume of that is.
You know, a mail time video.
Absolutely. With that being said,
And-
sorry, go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say I stream as well at various times throughout the week. Linktree.
Yep. We're all in the link tree, so you can catch all of our socials there. With that being said, guys, for the Idiot Book Nook and this chapter of Prospero School of Magic, The Return of Merlin, I'm Blazewing.
I am the Reading Dragon.
I'm Lady Planet.
I'm Kota Shy.
And we will see you guys next episode.